He's back. Dave Shoffner is with us once again. Spotbowl, Super Bowl commercial edition. This is the post Super Bowl where we get a look at what folks are saying about the commercials, and you can still, I believe, Dave, you can still take a look at the website spotbowl.com and still register your vote, right?
That's right. Voting is still open until noon Eastern today.
All right, cool. Our visit with Dave is presented by Marcus and Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 4 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. All right, Dave, what's the early word from looking at Spotbowl? What are people saying about the commercials in the Super Bowl last night?
You know, a good lineup. I wouldn't say it's the strongest lineup we've seen in the 23 years that we've been doing Spotbowl, but it was a good lineup. A lot of sort of sentimental tearjerker type of spots really up there in our top 5 right now.
Yeah, and you know, when you say that, one of the first ones that you see when you open the website is the Lay's commercial, the Last Harvest spot about the potato farmer who is giving his farm to his daughter, and he's going to go into retirement. That did bring a tear to the eye, didn't it?
It did. I think that connected with people, and Lay's has done that before with these sentimental spots featuring potato farmers. They did it twice before, won Spotbowl with both of them. This year, that's a number 2 spot right now.
Wow. Are you going to let go what number 1 is?
Yes, number 1, not surprising, is Budweiser's Freebird, the Clydesdale teaching the baby bald eagle how to fly. That's been a strong contender all night long.
Oh, yeah. But folks can change the results. They could log on right now and they could make their vote, and who knows. But, yeah, that is always going to be a contender. It's always going to be top 5. And I thought it was really well done.
It was, and it featured the Freebird, the song, so it had a lot going for it. And I think what's really cool about that one is, Budweiser, they bring the Clydesdales back every year, and you think, well, they couldn't possibly have something new that they could do, a new idea with the Clydesdales, and sure enough, they do.
They do. One of the great things about Spotbowl that I like a lot is that you can actually click on the more info or whatever that button is, and it will tell you what the predicted score was and what the current score is on thumbs up or thumbs down for each of the commercials, and so I think that's a really neat feature.
It is, we have some at Pavone Group. We have some data and analytics folks that put a lot of work into creating that tool. It uses past voting data. It uses inputs about each spot. Does it have a celebrity? Does it have an animal? Is it funny? And then it tries to predict how the spot will rank in polls like ours.
Yeah, and you can also, of course, if you have heard about, hey, did you see the commercial for X product, you can actually scroll down and alphabetically they're listed, and you can click and you can watch that commercial right away.
Absolutely. Yeah, we try to make it as easy as possible for people. So
you've been doing this for a lot of years. As you said, Spotbowl has been on for 23 years. Have you been there for all 23?
I have. I've been a part of the Spotbowl team for the last 23, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And so when you look at the overall group and how people were thinking about them, some of them will be things that people absolutely love, and some will be things that people absolutely hate. But the effectiveness of each of them as a commercial is really the ultimate measuring stick, isn't it?
It is, and that's the big question: is how effective will these spots be in selling product? I think the big thing that a lot of advertisers have to do is get their brand or their product into the story that they're telling with the spot and make it memorable. Because if we forget who the company is that made the ad, but we remember the punchline, that's not going to be good.
Yeah. So who to you were the great big winners, and who were the great big losers last night?
Big losers, yeah. Whenever there's winners, there's got to be losers, right?
Yeah.
No, I think there were some strange spots. There was one very unusual spot from Coinbase late in the game. It was a 60-second spot, so it cost them $16 million. And for the first 55 seconds, it was just karaoke to a Backstreet Boys song, and then at the end they slapped their logo on there. So that one was a very unusual ad. It got people talking, so maybe that was the goal.
I guess so. I'm looking at that ad right now. And the stat board says 30% positive, 70% negative. The predicted score was 63. So it was rather underperforming, I guess would be the charitable way to put it for that one. And
it did.
And what was another big loser for you last night?
I mean, I think anytime a spot, and I can't think of one offhand, but anytime a spot comes into the Super Bowl, we saw several of them. That's how forgettable they are. I can't remember them, but that comes in there with an ad that looks and feels just like a normal ad that you'd see any other time of the year. That's a risky. That's risky, especially with that much money on the line.
The Kendall Jenner spot was a disappointing result, I'm sure. The fanatics bet on Kendall. It had a 20% positive score, an 80% negative score, a predicted score of 63. And as I told the folks this morning, I said, I'll watch anything that has Kendall Jenner in it. But evidently, I'm one of the few.
Yeah, a lot of negativity around that one. And what that brand did wrong is that, when you think of sports betting, you don't necessarily think of Kendall Jenner. And so a celebrity for celebrity's sake is never a good idea. The celebrity has to fit the brand. It has to support the message in a meaningful and authentic way. And that one didn't. It just felt like a huge disconnect and pandering. So I think that's why it disconnected for a lot of people.
So you have been in this game for a very, very long time. It's your business. It's your profession. So when you see these commercials that start to come in and you get a look at them before the Super Bowl, you have a pretty good idea of what's going to work and what isn't, don't you?
I do. Personally having seen so many of these games play out and watching the polls as I do after the game, during the game and after the game, I'm watching these polls pretty closely to see how things are performing. So, there's very few surprises for us here at Pavone Group and Spotbowl these days.
Were there surprises last night?
I was mildly surprised by the which one was it? The Rocket Mortgage spot, America Needs Neighbors Like You. I'm surprised but not surprised. It uses a very powerful kind of connection there. Neighbors coming together after a storm. The Mr. Rogers track helps it a lot. That one is very strongly performing. It's at number 5 in our poll. And I'm honestly surprised at the Goodwill Dunkin' spot. The Dunkin' Donuts thing, I feel like they've gone back to this well of just sort of weird humor for the past several Super Bowls, and I don't know that it's working that well for them, but it's number 4 in our poll. That one, of course, featuring Ben Affleck and a whole bunch of other 90s stars and a lot of AI to make them look a lot younger.
See, I'm with you on that one. I really, the ones that Ben Affleck has been doing for Duncan for these last several years, to me, have been almost unwatchable.
They're very over the top, in your face. It's I don't know.
Yeah, it just doesn't hit the right chord. But evidently, folks really enjoyed this one.
They did. I mean, it's entertaining. Let's face it, and especially when you have that many celebrities. I mean, there's so many celebrities you couldn't even count them. That many celebrities in the spot. It's going to connect with people. So it's not a big surprise why it's in our top 10. Or in fact, it's number 4 spot right now. But from a marketing basics standpoint, I wasn't loving it.
I think the one with Lady Gaga singing "Won't You Be My Neighbor" is that the one you were referring to earlier?
That one, I believe, there was another spot. Mr. Rogers, in fact, had two spots in the game, as did the Backstreet Boys. So that was the other spot featuring Lady Gaga. She was in a spot for Pokemon, I believe. But she may have been in that Rocket Mortgage spot as well.
But I was surprised that a number of people said that with the Lady Gaga singing "Won't You Be My Neighbor," that some people in the comments to it, outside of Spotbowl, some people in the comments were saying that for them it seemed like they were trying to sell a product using Mr. Rogers, and that was a bridge too far, I guess, for them. But when you look at how it did on Spotbowl, it was like 80% really loved it.
Yeah, you're right. If that Rocket Mortgage spot is the one, and of course they got licensing for that. That's from the Mr. Rogers estate, that all costs money too. These spots are $8 million for 30 seconds, 16 if it's 60 seconds. You got to pay the celebrities. You got to pay the ad agency. You got to pay for the music. It's a big investment. Yeah,
they were talking about the amount of money that was invested in these commercials, especially the Duncan one with Ben Affleck. Just the talent that he put into it, and their fees would be a huge chunk of cash. One of the ones that was more controversial, I thought, was the Raisin Bran one with William Shatner because of tastefulness, I guess.
Yes, Bill Shat, or Will Shat, I guess.
Yes.
Number 14 in our poll. I love Raisin Bran. I've been a Raisin Bran fan since I was a kid, but the idea of connecting your product with Shat. Geez, I don't know. I can't really get on board with that as a marketer. I get the whole gut health thing, but that seems like it just crosses over another line that I don't want to make that mental connection.
Yeah, right now it is performing at 68% positive, 32% negative. The predicted score was 63%. But one thing about commercials like that is that people talk about it and they talk about the product. So even if it is a commercial maybe they didn't enjoy or they even downright disliked, the fact that they're talking about it, the advertiser has to feel pretty good about that.
Yes, you're right about that. I think in the Super Bowl especially, it can get a little crowded and a little noisy. And so a brand, sometimes like Coinstar with their 60-second Backstreet Boys karaoke, or Raisin Bran, which is a food that you want people to eat, but then you associate it with Shat. That can be a risky move, but to your point, it can make you stand out and get people talking.
One of the interesting things to me as well, as we talk with Dave Shoffner for just a couple of more moments, was the one by Pepsi called The Choice, where they stole Coca-Cola's polar bears.
Yes.
And your predicted score on that was 81, and it's 82 is the positive score on that. So you're right on the likability of that commercial, which to me was a surprise, because I would have said that people would say, nah, that's somebody else's idea and you're stealing it. But evidently people didn't feel that way.
That's one of my favorite spots of the night. I love the Cola Wars, having grown up in the 80s. I remember the Cola Wars well, Pepsi taking a shot at Coke and Coke taking a shot at Pepsi. And here we see an advertiser taking their competitor's icon, the white polar bear for Coke, in its own spot, the polar bear in the Pepsi spot, preferring Pepsi over Coke. I love that. I love that kind of direct kind of shots at competitors' marketing. We see that sometimes with beer brands. We see it sometimes with fast food brands, but it's very bold, and I applaud it. And it's number 3 in our poll, so I think it's connecting with people.
So I guess in the end you would say about that one, Pepsi, you got the right one, baby.
That's going back a ways, but yes, absolutely. I'm hoping Coca-Cola makes a return shot at Pepsi here. We'll see.
Oh, they'll get back at him. We might have to wait a year for the next Super Bowl and the next Spotbowl in order to see it, but they'll make their statement. Dave Shoffner, this has been a lot of fun talking with you, as we do every year, about the Super Bowl commercials. Spotbowl.com. You say people can vote until noon today.
Yes, noon today. That's when the polls close. We call it the water cooler vote. People going to work, looking at the ads again, talking about them, and voting.
There you go. The results may change, but right now you've got some clear winners. Dave, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day today, and we'll catch up with you next year. If you need to come back on, if you got something else going for America 250 or something like that, you let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. There's Dave Shoffner with us here this morning. It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com.